The night was thick, drenched in an unsettling silence, broken only by the distant sound of crickets. A full moon lit up the empty streets of a small rural town, where secrets hid in the shadows. Caitlin, a 17-year-old girl, was walking home in a hurry after another dull day at school. Her heart was racing, not just from the pace, but from a strange feeling that had been following her since morning. When she got home, the landline rang out of nowhere. The sound echoed through the empty living room like a distant cry. Caitlin hesitated before picking up. "Hello," she said, her voice trembling. On the other end, there was only silence. A silence so deep it felt like it had a life of its own. She was about to hang up when she heard a heavy, uneven breath. "Who is this?" she asked again, this time with more force. A low, whispery laugh echoed back, sending chills down her spine. "You'll know me very well, very soon." Caitlin froze. She quickly hung up and looked around the living room, half expecting to see someone there with her. But she was alone, or so she thought. In the days that followed, the calls kept coming, always at the same time, 9:13 p.m. Sometimes there was just laughter. Other times, strange, threatening words that left her unsettled even during daylight. Her mom noticed her odd behavior and tried to talk about it, but Caitlin couldn't explain the fear growing inside her. On a rainy Friday night, while trying to ignore her anxiety by watching TV in the dimly lit living room, the phone rang again. Without thinking, maybe driven by some mix of courage and teenage recklessness, she answered. "What do you want?" Silence. Then, "I'm coming to get you." Panic flooded her as she looked out the window for any sign of danger. A shadow moved quickly under the weak streetlight outside her house. She ran to her room and locked the door behind her. Heart pounding, she grabbed her cell phone to call the police, but before she could dial, she saw something reflected in the window. A tall, hooded figure standing across the street. Caitlin was frozen with fear, then snapped into action. She had to get out, now. Moving as quietly as she could, she slipped out the back door into the damp, dark backyard. But before she reached the safety of the trees at the edge of the yard, that familiar laugh cut through the night. "Where do you think you're going?" It was him. The voice behind the disturbing calls had finally become real. Caitlin turned toward the sound, staring into the shadows where a pair of glowing eyes stared back under the full moon. She bolted in the opposite direction without looking back. Every step dragged her deeper into the unknown, her lungs burning from the desperate effort to escape. She ran through the empty streets, lost between memories and distorted flashes of that evil figure. The trees bent against the howling wind, and shadows danced on the walls of the lifeless houses around her. The silence broke again, this time with a blinking message on her phone screen. "Are you ready to play?" In that terrifying instant, she answered, "I am." Suddenly, the world around her dropped into total darkness. First, a jolt, then a fall, like tumbling into a bottomless pit. For a few seconds, Caitlin felt weightless, floating in a freezing void with no sound, no light. Only the echo of her own breathing. Then a familiar voice, now multiplied into thousands of twisted tones, whispered into her very soul. "You accepted the game, Caitlin, and you lost. Now your existence is mine." In the depths of the void, she saw her reflection shattered into countless fragments, each showing a version of herself, screaming in silence, trapped forever in an endless game, while the town above carried on, unaware, forgetting her name.